I keep thinking back to that scene in Lord of the Rings where Pippin and Merry are opening up like little casks of ale, and they're like, oh, we're sitting back with a pipe and a pint after a hard day's work, and Merry's like, yeah, but Pippin, you've never done a hard day's work. I like to think that the beer they might be drinking would be a good Belgian saison.
I can do that. Or some sort of farmhouse.
Exactly. Yeah, you think of the Shire, you think of farm work, and saison is like the quintessential farmhouse ale. And when it comes to a good, solid Belgian saison, the one that's at the heart of so many saison lovers, the one that is the gateway to many who love saisons, and I think from there to wild ales and sours and all of that, all comes down to one beer in particular. Saison Dupont. Hi, I'm Anthony St. Clair, beer writer.
I'm Jody St. Clair, master crafter.
And we are recording this in the midst of an Oregon spring. We had a truly glorious, sunny, warm day today.
I feel like we just need to celebrate that warm day. This is a perfect way to celebrate it.
It really is. Do you remember when we first had this? I was trying to remember, and I could not for the life of me.
I don't know. I want to say it was before we were married.
Right.
So that puts it in a 4-year period.
There you go. Yeah. Saison is a beer that would have been brewed in the Wallonia region of Belgium, a lot of farm country, like a little bit of Belgium, a little bit of northern France. And this is the beer that you would have brewed in the quiet season, in the colder time of year, because there's less chance of it spoiling and whatnot back in the day. Oh, yeah. And then you would have busted this out during the warmer times of year when it was too warm to brew because you didn't have the same temperature control and all these other things that modern breweries do. And you had a bunch of working farmhands, and they were thirsty, and the water would kill you, so you needed beer. So, oh my gosh. Saison Dupont is just the quintessential saison. Beautiful color, pale, a little bit gold, tidge of copper.
Thank you.
No, you need more than that.
I'm good. Okay. A little drop more.
Well.
No, just pour your own.
Yes, dear.
I want to drink it, and the longer you take, the longer it takes until I get to drink it.
I'm just trying to make sure you're properly served. Isn't that my job? Well, whenever we had our first one of these, I remember reading about it, and that made us get it, and we were hooked.
Oh. I want to weep. It's so good. Oh. It's been too long.
Seriously. That is spring sunshine. That is kids playing in the park. That is good day's work.
Yeah.
I mean, not farmhands for us, but we had a good day's work.
We did.
Yeah. And there, there's that bit of funk.
Mm-hmm.
A little tartness in there, but nothing crazy. Oh, it's just so smooth. So smooth. Part of what I've always loved about saison is they're also that's what we've got in the silo. Okay, brew with it. It might be some oats, maybe some wheat, some barley, some rye, whatever. It was one of these beers where the farmers had it, and it goes. And so many of the characteristics that come from saison, like they're known for having all these different aromas and all these different flavors, and you're like, what kind of crazy stuff are they adding to this beer? And it's usually just the yeast. Yeah. There are some saisons where they might put in some spices or some other things, but often these yeasts are like the superheroes of yeast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They really create such unique flavors.
Yeah. Well, it's a funny style too, because like Saison's kind of had this it moment a few years ago. And suddenly you had some breweries cropping up that wanted to do farmhouse style, and you had Saisons and farmhouse beers coming up and whatnot. And then it kind of petered out. But the funny thing is, like, you have a lot of breweries that do like farmhouse style beer where they have some Saisons. They do an occasional limited release or something, but you also have these breweries that are really focused on the farmhouse style or wild ales or sours or these other things. And I don't think that would have happened, at least in the U.S., without Saison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
So Saison Dupont, this was first brewed in like 1844. I mean, it's had its ups and downs over the 20th century, like a lot of classic beer styles, and really started coming back in like the 80s and 90s, thanks in large part to the beer writer Michael Jackson. Started getting imported into the U.S., and it just really took off. And Saison Dupont's been like one of the top sellers for this Belgian brewery ever since. It's not actually the top in Belgium. It's really popular in the States. But this is the beer that launched 1,000 other beers. Now, Saison Dupont is pretty easy to get in a lot of places. And if you can't get Saison Dupont, definitely ask for, what other Belgian Saisons do you have, or whatever, or any French Bière de Garde that's a cousin of Saison. Any of those will do you well. And I could sit here and try to tell you other Belgian Saisons to get, but as you've probably guessed, my pronunciations of even English words can be kind of skeptical. So I'm not even going to try Belgian and French names. But if you want to look around stateside, there are a lot of American producers who've been doing some really cool stuff. So one in particular that can be really fun, that's really highly regarded, is Allagash. Their Saison and a lot of their other styles are really solid beers. And they're in Portland, but not Oregon's. They're in Portland, Maine. Another one, Amagang Hennepin from out of Cooperstown, New York. Golden, beautiful, really wonderful stuff. Now, one brewery that I'm especially glad for is called Trinity. They're in Colorado Springs, Colorado, which is also where Jody's parents live. And we visited there before. They do a ton of different Saisons and farmhouse beers, and they do a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Remember one time, I think I read sometime they often have like 7 or 8 Saisons on tap.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can also, from Fort Collins, Colorado, a bit up the road, there's Funkworks. They do pretty much everything they do is around like Saison and farmhouse styles. Their Nelson Sauvin is especially renowned. I've often seen that compared to like a good dry Sauvignon Blanc. That's a really fun beer. And from here in Oregon, another one I would suggest you try to keep an eye out for is the Crux Farmhouse. We featured some other Crux before on here, but any of their farmhouse,
peach.
Yeah, their peach farmhouse.
It was very good.
Yes. So yeah, but if you've not had Saison before, definitely track down a bottle of Dupont, and you will see why. For people who love Saison, for brewers who love to brew Saison, this is often what starts it for them.
So if you have a favorite Saison, we would love to hear what you have in your glass, and if there's something that we should be looking out for, whether we're traveling or something that we can get, and maybe it'll be featured in a future video. So we are always looking for things to add to our to-drink list.
Indeed.
We want to thank all of the patrons for your patronage.
Solange.
It's your contributions that make these videos possible. And if you would like to become a patron and get access to these videos and a whole bunch of other stuff that Anthony is doing, you can do that at patreon.com/Anthony St. Clair.
My patrons are so awesome. They help make a lot of things possible for my fiction and my nonfiction, including these videos and more. So check it out, become a patron today. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm Anthony St. Clair, a beer writer.
I'm Jody St. Clair, Master Crafter.
See you next time. and may you have a wonderful beer in your glass soon.